Okay, let's talk about election integrity. In 1960, the Democrats cheated Richard Nixon out of the Oval Office. So when Nixon was made aware of the facts, he was asked if he wanted to pursue it legally, that he indeed had the right of redress. He declined, his reasoning being that it would essentially destroy the American public's trust in the voting process. Now, I've talked about how the First Amendment is about more than just being able to say what you want to say. It's about the expression of thought. It is about the right to self. And I've talked about how the Second Amendment is about the right to defend self. Now, I haven't elaborated much on the second because I believe that it is self explanatory. Now, I've heard people say that what good is an AR 15 against a fighter jet or even a tank? I've even heard President Biden make this statement. Now, here's what I would say in response to that. Any government that would turn a tank or a fighter jet on its citizens simply for exercising their constitutional rights, that government is the very epitome of tyrannical and should be opposed and resisted. I've talked about how the Fourth and the Fifth Amendment allow for us to be our best self. And someone asked me to expound on that concept. And so, what we had to examine is what our best self would even look like. And what is it about America, in theory, if not in actual practice, that would allow for that to even be possible? And we concluded that that would be the right of self-determination, the right to self-govern, the right to determine how we are governed by elected officials. And these are best exemplified and modeled through the right to vote, to engage in a free and honest election process. If you infringe, hinder, or encumber any of that, then you destroy what America is at its core and at its essence. I am on record as saying that in order for the New World Order agenda to move forward, the global elites must first fundamentally transform America. And the most effective way to do that is to undermine the people's faith in the electoral process. You have to tell them either that their vote doesn't count, or you have to tell them they don't even get a vote. Now, let's go back to the fall of 2020. A few years ago, I did a video called The Fix Was In. And in that video, I talked about the then 4-year psyop that the American people were being subjected to. And I said that the litmus test for how effective it wouldn't be known until November 4th, the day after. Well, what happened on the day of? We saw butt naked, broad daylight cheating right out in the open. They didn't even try to hide it. Listen, it's important to understand not just the what, but the how. They cheated, and they did it right to our face. They told an entire demographic, your vote don't count. And they were told that they didn't have the right to relief nor redress. To quote the infamous Alonzo Harris, it's not what you know, it's what you can prove. Now, do you want to go to jail or do you want to go home? So, when those citizens showed up in January to exercise their constitutional rights, they were charged with insurrection and conspiracy. I've talked about that at length in other videos. Now, let me say this. Conspiracy is a chargeable offense. And in order for an act or actions to rise to the level of conspiracy, 4 criteria have to be met. So basically, what the government told them is that you didn't come here to exercise your constitutional rights. You came here with the intent to commit a crime. But again, I've talked about that at length in other videos. See my playlist, The War on Trump, It's either on this page or on my backup page. Now, here's the thing that I also don't want us to miss. With the cheating, the other side of the aisle acted like they were blind and couldn't see a thing. And they justified it all in the name of stopping the bad guy, all in the name of stopping Donald Trump. That's how the cheating was allowed to take place and to stand. Now, fast forward to the summer of 2024. Biden suddenly drops out of the election process. Harris was selected as his replacement. They bypassed the entire voting process. So essentially, you now had an entire demographic that were told you don't even get a vote. Now, of course, the Democrats will placate themselves by saying, well, we knew this could happen. After all, Harris was the VP and it's only right. Or they'll say, at least we don't have to vote for an old white man. We now have a choice. Yeah, right. They will placate themselves all in the name of stopping the bad guy, all in the name of stopping Donald Trump. So the more things change, the more they stay the same. So now listen, I've explained how when the Luciferians run a psyop, they run it on everyone at the same time. Although a particular demographic may be the fulcrum that is being leveraged, ultimately they are indeed after everyone. Now, because we are so divided, we miss the connection. In 2020, when they told the conservatives, your vote doesn't count, they were telling every American, your vote don't count. In 2024, when they told the Democrats, you don't even get a vote, they were telling every American, you don't get a vote. And both times, they did it right to our faces. But again, everyone is so focused on Donald Trump, they can't see what's really being done to the people. Now, I would be remiss if I don't touch on this. It does not matter how you feel about the voting process, whether you feel that the vote is real or it's a sham, if it's an illusion or if it actually matters that we vote. Don't get hung up on the fact that if you believe that our leaders are selected for us. That ain't the point. Because if you focus on that, you will miss the bigger picture of what's actually happening. It's like Bruce Lee said in Enter the Dragon. It's like a finger pointing to the moon. Don't concentrate on the finger or else you will miss all that heavenly glory. Now, let me conclude by saying this. Twice in the last 4 years, the Marxists have openly interfered with the election process. So yeah, I would say that the fundamental transformation of America has already begun.